Hi garden friends. So what are we going to do today? Well, I thought I'd share with you a rose that I got. It was a gift, and it was basically someone who was moving and wanted to just get rid of their plants that they had in pots. So I offered to take it off their hands, which is, a free plant for me. So it was a great win-win. It's called the Poet's Wife. It's a David Austin rose, and it was planted in kind of a half wine barrel. So I basically just don't have anywhere specific to put it. So it's been like just kind of hanging out in the backyard under a tree for now. And the rose has broken dormancy. And I noticed actually that it had a vine that was growing out of the wine barrel, and it started kind of making its tendrils around my rose canes. So I took a closer look today, and yeah, I thought maybe, there's another plant planted in this wine barrel that I'm not aware of. So I was excited. I was like, maybe it's a clematis. I did a plant app ID after taking a picture of it, and it said it was Ipanema. I'm not probably saying that wrong, but in any event, I wasn't really sure. So I posted it on a local gardening group, and wow, the comments were like just right away. People were like, it's death, get rid of it, burn it. So apparently it's bindweed, and also known as a type of morning glory. And I actually have never had to deal with bindweed in this garden. So I've been like lucky, knock on wood, that I haven't had to deal with bindweed. I have heard about it, and I know it's been like a very aggressive weed, real problem. For my garden, it's more horsetail, which is like my kind of nemesis weed. But apparently bindweed is really bad as well. So I'm gonna be tackling that today, and thankfully it is still contained in that pot, because I'm just imagining like if I had planted that out in my garden that I would be spreading bindweed into my garden, which would have been horrible. So luckily it's still in that pot. So my plan is to kind of dig it out as much as I can, try to get the roots, and I was told very strongly not to compost it, not to put it into my city compost, to make sure to put it in a black trash bag and make sure it goes in the trash so it doesn't get light and doesn't spread anywhere else. So that's my plan today. And I should also mention that the other option was like to tip out that whole container onto the driveway, remove all of the soil, dispose of all of the soil, root wash the rose roots on like pavement, like anywhere where it can root in any kind of soil whatsoever, and then replant the rose. So that's kind of like the extreme option. The nuclear option is just tossing the entire thing. So I'm gonna start with the easiest option, which is just digging out as much as I can of it, and hopefully that contains it, and keep an eye on it. And yeah, so here are some pictures of what it looks like. I'm gonna insert those now. And the tendrils were making its way up the rose canes, but I unwound them. So luckily it wasn't too difficult to do that. And right now I just see like 2 tendrils. So let's see what we can do and hopefully prevent bindweed from taking over my garden. All right, here we are in the backyard, and this is the barrel, half barrel type of thing. That is the container the rose came in. This is the Poet's Wife, David Austin rose. So you can see, here it is. And the evil vine is this bindweed. So you can see that here. And I was told that you can tell it's bindweed by these heart-shaped leaves. See those? And the pink stem. So everyone seems to know what it is except me. They were very adamant that I dispose of it and do it in a responsible way. So what I do have is I have my trowel here. It's a narrow trowel, so I'm going to try to dig it out carefully and see if that works, if I can get the roots. Our gloves on. Let's see. Start with this longer one. I don't know. I heard it snap. So I didn't get the whole root. All right, so it did snap, didn't get the whole thing. This one also didn't get the whole thing. Try to get the other side. Snapped again. All right, so this one also snapped. It went down very far, so I did the best I could, and then before I couldn't get any farther. One more to go. What's this one here? Okay, that one snapped as well. Seems like the roots are circling this particular container. Yep, there's another piece. I'm making sure to keep these from the ground so they don't fall onto the ground and spread. So I've gotten out as much as I can, and what I'm going to do is now get a black plastic garbage bag to put these in. You definitely don't want to miss any of them, and you don't want to put these in your compost. All right, so Rose is looking good. A good thing I didn't plant it out in my garden bed. That would have been a nightmare. So I'm going to leave it in this pot, at least for this year. And then what I might do is when it goes dormant next year, I might actually do the whole root wash, dispose of all the soil, and do a root wash just to make sure I've not taken any chances with this bindweed in my garden. For the season, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this, and anytime I see anything coming up, I'm going to immediately try to dispose of it, just as I described today. While we're here, I might as well show you what's blooming in the garden. So we have these beautiful pulmonaria blooming all throughout the garden, and I love them. They are the proven winners type for the most part, I believe, and they are the spot-on variety, which are these beautiful purple colored blooms, just a hint of pink in them. These ones are doing quite well here, and I definitely am going to divide them and add more to the garden. And I did notice my Brunera is also blooming, and I love this plant. Isn't it beautiful? Look at those silvery leaves. I think I might take this little baby plant and transplant it somewhere. I have another one back there. I find it very difficult to grow Brunera in my garden. I think it's just a little bit too wet for it. So it needs a well-draining spot. So I'm going to try to see if I can transplant a plant out front to the front garden, which I think might have more drier, shadier spots, and see if it takes there. There's another pulmonaria back here. I have a hellebore that just keeps on blooming. Definitely yes to more hellebores, but right now the star is definitely the pulmonaria, or lungwort as it's called. There's another beautiful specimen here. Another one here. There's one more variety I wanted to show you. It's called Shrimp on the Barbie, and it has pink blooms. That one is over here. This one's a little bit smaller, but this one is quite nice. Beautiful pink color. It really stands out when it's gray weather. So very nice to see these blooms. And just walking across the sidewalk here, I wanted to show you another variety. So here I've got the spot-on pulmonaria, the proven winners tripe, and you can see the difference with this one here. So if you take a look at this one, you can see the blooms are a little bit lighter shade. They're more pale. And I believe this one is the variety Twinkle Toes. So I believe that is why it's a different shade than this one, because the other variety I have in the garden is called Twinkle Toes. There are some more. I love this plant so much. I have it all over. and it's still not enough. Like I still want more. And here on this one we have a giant bumblebee enjoying the blooms. Let's see if we can get some video of him. All right, had to let that one go, but here is another clump, and you can see my boxwood is not doing very well. It looks like it got a lot of winter damage, so I think I'm going to pull that this year because I did give it last year. It had a little bit of orange, but now it's gotten worse, so I think that one's going to go. But I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on my beautiful pulmonaria. And before I go, I might as well show off the tulips and daffodils that are in this garden bed. The tulips have basically fizzled out. They've been in there for several years, and now there's only a couple left. But the daffodils are doing quite well. Love this variety. They have multiple blooms on one stem. And the last thing I'll show you before I sign off is this camellia. So this is a Taylor's Perfection camellia. And actually I've had it in the ground for a couple of years and it has not been doing well, and it looks like it finally bloomed. So that's nice to see. Beautiful blooms. This is a shady spot, and looks like hopefully it'll just get bigger and better over time. So this is an example of the sleep, creep, and leap. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me today as I try to eradicate the bindweed from this container, the Poet's Wife Rose, which I obviously don't want to get rid of. So let me know if you think I did the right thing trying to dig it out of the container, or if you think I should have just tossed all the soil, root washed it, and planted it anew. I'm definitely not going to plant it in my garden until that's done, but for now I'm going to try to contain it within the container and just dig it up and keep digging it up until it's like so weak that it's eradicated. So let me know what you would do, or if you have any tips for me. Thanks so much for joining me. Have a great day. Bye-bye. One more beautiful bloom I have to show you is this Mascari. Mascari is now in bloom. It's also known as grape hyacinth, and it's a beautiful color. This one is, and this variety is called baby's breath, I believe. And it has some weeds in there, and I couldn't really tell what was grass and what was the Mascari, so I'm in a bit of a pickle trying to weed that area. And then of course these I believe are my wild rose heuchera, and they are looking really nice right now. Very fresh leaves, just looking lovely. Also have my lamium in bloom. So the pink blooms here are my ground cover lamium. So sweet. Complement my lungwort here really well. Also want to show off this cherry blossom. It's a beautiful cherry blossom growing on this tree. Just like a fluffy cotton candy like bloom. Really beautiful. I love cherry blossom season.